Today we're tying a parachute style mayfly pattern on the Allen D202 hook. We're tying this pattern to match a mayfly that's hatching on a local creek nearby. Start your thread out about 2 hook eyes back. Next, I'm going to tie in a fairly large clump of indicator yarn. I'm going to use my scissors to taper the back end of this clump so it ties in a bit more smoothly. Now, I'll bring my thread halfway back up to that post and then begin to tie in a hackle feather that I've preened forward. When I tie it in, I'm going to leave a small gap. The reason for this I'll explain a little later. Here, I'm going to lift the post of my wing up and pair it next to the feather, and then just take a couple wraps around the post to lock them together. Once I've done that, I can return back to the tail section to begin tailing the fly. However, before I tie in the tail, I'm going to add a tiny bit of superglue right to the post to cause it to stand up a bit stiffer, which will make wrapping the fiber around it later much easier. Next, I'm going to tie in 4 strips of pheasant tail, slightly longer than the length of the body to create the tail. Once I've tied them down, I'm simply going to pull them back and then lock them down in reverse and dub the body with a hare's ear fiber. Next, I'll add some wax to my thread and dub the body using a hare's ear dubbing. For this step, stop your dubbing 1 wrap in front of the wing and then wrap forward what's remaining of the pheasant tail fiber. Trap down your pheasant tail fiber, being careful not to trap down too much of your wing hackle. Now, that small gap I left in the post will allow me to start my hackle wraps up higher and then bring them down so they don't trap each other down as I wrap. Once I've taken a rather thick number of wraps around the post, I'm going to draw back the hackle fibers and trap down the stem. Now I can trim away my hackle, dub my thread, and finish the thorax. Next, I'll add a couple whip finishes. Here, I'm just going to trim my post down to be even with the tips of my hackle fibers. And there, you have a completed large parachute mayfly. While if you were to use a stiffer hackle, you'd get a straighter wing, here I'm using a softer hackle fiber, which creates a bit more of an upswept wing. This upswept wing should allow the pattern to drop a little bit deeper into the water and be great for enticing some local panfish and bass.